You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. Cause it get cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota.
What's going on, hockey fans? Peter from YHH here with a very special pre-World Juniors interview with Rachael Johnson, the senior, I want to make sure I get this right now, the Senior Director of Security and Guest Experience. Rachel, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am wonderful. Thanks for inviting me to be here. I'm super excited to do this interview and can't wait to get into it.
All right. Sam did tell me that you might be tired of talking to fellow employees, so I'm glad that I can give you this outlet where you can tell me exactly how you feel about your team so far during this process.
Oh my gosh, my team is great. We're ready. We are ready to welcome all the international hockey fans here to the Grand Casino Arena. Very excited.
Let's learn a little bit about you. Was it always your childhood dream to become a director of security and guest experience?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I just got into this field by happenstance, actually. I was going to school for elementary education and was a part-time usher.
Wow.
And
okay.
over at the Target Center and at the Minnesota Twins. So spent a little time over there before I came over here to the Grand Casino Arena.
How do you feel about Minneapolis versus St. Paul?
Oh my gosh. St. Paul is wonderful.
Thank you.
Much more relaxed, a little bit more relaxed than Minneapolis.
I was raised in St. Paul, so anytime that I can throw a little bit of shade at Minneapolis, I'm going to take it. So thanks for backing me up on that
I
one,
love
Rachel.
it. Yes, you're welcome.
I would imagine elementary education gave you a leg up in this business because in elementary education, I was also an L-Ed major before my mother told me I should change. You're managing children and you're managing people that might not want to be told what to do, which sounds a little bit like hockey and baseball and basketball fans. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Absolutely. It's all about the people, right? And that's why I do this. I have a passion for people, passion for our frontline crew. My mission is to make sure that they're successful in every day that they show up to work here.
What does a day in the life look like for Rachael Johnson when you're not being interrupted by interviews at 10 in the morning? Walk me through I'm assuming you work more than 8 hours a day. Walk me through a day.
Well, 100%. 8-hour day is like a vacation if we can get one of those. That doesn't happen too often. Even in the summertime when there's no events, we're busy planning budgets and looking at things. So, a day like today is a wild game actually that we're getting ready for. And so I'll come in usually about 10 a.m. on the game day and I'll do some email management because that's the world that we live in these days. Is exactly little email management, troubleshoot, and then take a look at what we're expecting for tonight and what the handouts are and make sure that we have the staff in the proper placement. So we'll look at that and get our staffing right. And then about 4 o'clock on game days is when we start really getting ready with our pre-shift meetings and that sort of thing.
Okay, so it's a little bit like the NHL players schedule where the morning is a little bit more relaxed. It's morning skate, and then you get to about 4 p.m. and you're thinking, it's time for a cup of coffee. It's time to really lock in. So you're basically an NHL player, Rachel.
Well, there we go. Hopefully the salary comes with it, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Now, the Wild games, I think, are probably old hat at this point. You have a good routine. Your team is in place. World Juniors, different animal. We have players coming from all over the world, not to mention players, but coaches and personnel and fans. So what kind of unique challenges do the World Juniors present for you and your team?
Yeah, I think, the World Juniors, we're very excited. 10 different countries represented here. So the unique challenges is it's really been months, even years of planning to get ready for this event, right? And so it's everything from meeting with our safety partners, internal and external safety partners, right? There's a huge conglomerate around the Twin Cities, not only here in St. Paul, but over in Minneapolis. We meet on a regular cadence to make sure that the event is executed safely. And then just creating excitement for the team, right? Many of our staff work here in this venue because they're hockey fans, right? I mean, everybody here, how can you not be a hockey fan to work here, right? And so to be able to have this tournament for those fans, or for the fans that are our staff too, is amazing. So we're busy planning and prepping for fun within the team as well. So we have some little games that we'll be playing with our staff to keep them motivated throughout the 11 days of the tournament and creating different competitions between employment groups within the facility. So it's going to be a great time. We're ready.
Can you tell me what one of those games is?
Well, it's top secret. I can't tell
It's
you.
top
I can't tell you
secret?
right now because I'm sure some of our staff will be listening here on this podcast, and then
Okay.
they'll.
We don't want to ruin
We don't
it
want
for
to
them.
tip. We don't want to tip it off.
We don't want to tip it off. Fair enough. Okay, I'll share some secrets about sneaking things in if you share some secrets about what
There
kind
we
of
go.
games
That's
you play.
fair. That's fair.
Now, I do want to mention one of those partners, Evolve. That's EVOLV. It's used in Nashville at Bridgestone. It's used in Philadelphia at Wells Fargo. It's an AI screening device. Can you tell me a little bit about Evolve and how Evolve helps you get people through the line faster? Because that's what fans are worried about, right? They want to get in, they want to get to their seat.
Absolutely. So Evolve is a company that we partnered with about 3 years ago, actually. We started small. We started with just gate 2, and then since then we've expanded to all gates. But from a fan's perspective, really it's about frictionless screening. So you don't have to take all the stuff out of your pockets to enter, right? You can simply enter through the Evolve technology, which again, it just moves much faster than the old traditional walk-through metal detectors.
And what's the relationship like with Evolve? Are they pretty responsive? I know they're based in Massachusetts, so I'm assuming there's a lot of Zooms, a lot of emails.
Yeah.
But have you enjoyed working with
Oh
them?
my gosh, they are a fantastic partner. They are always quick to answer the phone. They do many site visits throughout the year. They're a great partner. We're so grateful to be partnering with them.
All right, now I want to ask a little bit of a meta question. You mentioned games, but I want to expand on that. How do you balance the discipline that comes along with your job? Because at the end of the day, you are head of security, with maintaining a fun environment for fans where they don't feel like someone's always watching them, but if they get out of line, you can bring them out.
Yes, that's a loaded question, right? And that's the secret sauce, if you will, right? To keep the fans engaged, to keep an eye on them, but yet provide a safe environment. We rely on fans around the fans, right? So we have a great text to assist phone number available so fans can self-report if someone is out of line or a little too passionate about whatever team they're cheering for.
Good way to put it.
Exactly, absolutely. But then also our great frontline staff, right? We have lots of ushers who kind of serve as secret spies on the security front as well, right? They're here for fan safety. One time, a coworker of mine said they're kind of like a flight attendant on an airline, right? You think that you're getting that good meal, but really they're there for safety. That's what we say about the ushers as well.
That's a really good. I don't know if it's an analogy or a euphemism. I didn't finish my master's, but I think that's a really nice way to put it. A flight attendant. I'm here to make sure that you are safe and you get through the flight or the game safely. That's a really nice way to put it.
Absolutely.
And I speak from personal experience. I was I wasn't. My father and my uncle were season ticket holders. I was telling Sam earlier, and we sat section 103, row 12, seats 10 and 11. And there was a guy that sat a little further down the row, and he wore a jersey that said "Wild Man" on the back. And I remember distinctly as a child learning a few choice words from Wild Man, but he made it so much fun for everybody in our row. He got chants going. He was the nicest guy. So finding that balance, it's a challenge, but it's got to be worth it.
Absolutely. We are very excited to welcome all fans, and hopefully with this international tournament, we'll meet some new friends along the way. So excited.
International. That will include different languages. Can I safely assume you do not speak Finnish or Swedish?
I do not speak Finnish or Swedish.
Okay.
No,
Has there been
unfortunately not.
Has there been a challenge in that? Have you hired anyone to help with some of the language
Yeah,
barriers?
no, you know what? There really hasn't been a challenge with that so far. We'll see once
far? Okay.
once the guests start showing up. We'll see. We'll be able to work through it, and hopefully with some pointing and some, I don't know, Google Translate, right? Google
Yep.
knows everything.
Some
Just
gentle
ask Google.
direction.
Exactly. We'll figure it out.
30 Swedes show up and they want to go right through the security line without dropping their keys in the bucket.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely.
I guess if I had to wrap things up, can you tell me your biggest dream for your security team and this event? Is it pulling it off without a hitch? Is it somehow creating a unique experience for fans? If you had to put into words your biggest dream for your security and guest experience team this week at the World Juniors.
Well, safety is always number one, right, in our eyes. So, having a safe and successful event, that's always the key. But as well, just creating that experience, that once-in-a-lifetime experience for the fans attending, as well as our team members that work here, right? It's such a unique opportunity. So how can we not capitalize on everything this tournament has to offer?
Well, I think after spending a few minutes with you, I think you're going to capitalize and then some. That's Rachael Johnson, Senior Director of Security and Guest Experience here at Grand Casino Arena. Rachel, I am looking forward to the World Juniors even more than I already was. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
What's going on, hockey fans? Welcome back to Grand Casino Arena. We have another fantastic interview lined up for you with Brandon Tucker, the World Junior Championships Senior Event Manager. It's a big title, but we think he's up to the task. Brandon, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you have a busy day, so we would like to borrow you for a few minutes and learn a little bit about your role within the World Juniors.
Absolutely.
And just how much collaboration goes on with an international event like this.
Yes, lots of collaboration. It all kind of starts right from about a year ago to a year and a half. Actually, even more than that, when we put the bid process in to work with Minnesota Sports and Events to encourage USA Hockey to pick our building, one of two buildings in the metro area, and to have them come and bring this tournament to us and to the state of hockey. And once that bid was awarded in Sweden to St. Paul and Minneapolis, or the state of hockey, if you will, we then traveled to a group of us did travel to Ottawa last year and did a site visit and went to some of the games and got to know some of the folks that we'd be working with on site now. And now it's here. We're less than 24 hours away from the madness that will occur on Christmas Eve. And we will have teams moving in, and we will have practice on Christmas Day. And our first game will happen on the 26th starting at noon. And so there's a lot that just comes together, and it comes together fast. And there's a lot of stuff that's still question mark, if you will, and which will all get determined and figured out on site tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, at least you don't have a question mark quite like the International Olympic Committee with the arena, not being done.
We are solid. We're good here.
I see ice out there.
Yes,
it looks
ice,
great,
and it's going to be ready. The logos will change a little bit, but you'll see the same building, just a little bit different ice.
All right. Let's go back to that site visit for a second. When you got to Ottawa, beautiful city, by the way.
Yep.
Did you come away feeling a little nervous, like there was a high bar set, or did you come away thinking self-confident, my team and I can absolutely rock this?
The latter. We are the team that we have here, and the people that we have working to put something like this on. It's not just a one-person event. It's been often described of event managers that we are like a sand hourglass, right? We get all the information at the top, and in the middle, I'm the guy in the middle, and then I disseminate it out to everybody else. But it requires me to talk to not only Rachel's group, right? It requires me to talk to the security department, the engineer department, the electricians, the operations, the control room, the TV guys. It requires me to talk to everybody on campus that has something that would normally have something to do with a Wild game, but then even more on a larger scale, right? And so, but we've done it before, just not internationally. We just 2 years ago hosted the NCAA Frozen Four, right? It's a tournament, it's hockey. What we know is hockey, and we are confident in that. And as long as we can work with our partners, and really there are three major partners that go into this, and it's the IHF, it's USA Hockey, and it's Minnesota Sports and Events. And working with all three of those entities in conjunction with working with our internal partners to pull it all off. And come 12 o'clock on the 26th, the puck will drop. And the beauty is that fans are going to come in and they're going to see great hockey, right? And if there's any kind of chaos and madness, it's all going to happen where fans don't even know about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like people will just come in. Same thing with when we host concerts. The day could be very long in that concert starts. The end of it, you realize the artist is going to go on stage. We're going to have a concert, and all the fans aren't going to know about the problems that happened leading up to that concert. And none of the fans are going to know about the problems or issues, and not really problems, but issues or things that may have hung us up a little bit. We have such a great team that is able to bring us together, and we all have been in the trenches together on a multitude of levels and a variety of times. So when I left Ottawa, I never once thought, we couldn't do this event. So, and now that it's here, I think we're all just ready to have it. Let's get them in the door. Let's bring them in. Let's bring the fans in. Let's have a great tournament, and let's send everybody home happy.
Yeah, I love hearing that, because Kayla and I also work. Youth Hockey Hub is not only a media company, but an events company as well. We run about 12 to 15 tournaments, including the Squirtacular, which is over 100 teams of 8 and 9-year-olds in our building. And our philosophy is kind of, as long as the kids get on the ice and nobody bleeds, I think we're going to be okay. Exactly. I mean, the Venmo can go down, so we can't collect ticket money, or somebody could forget the warm-up pucks. But as long as the kids get on the ice, as long as the game gets played, everything's going to be okay.
Right. Exactly.
There's a little bit of crisis management that goes into
100%. And that's part of the thrill, right?
The adrenaline.
It's the adrenaline of it all, and the last minute stuff. It may be stressful in the moment, but I think both myself and Rachel kind of live off of that and fuel ourselves off of that. And that gets us energized and excited. And as soon as things start coming in and happening tomorrow, Sam has me coming in at Dark 30 for some more media. So that'll be fun. But by the time, 7 a.m. rolls around and the volunteers start to come in to help move teams in, 8 a.m. comes around, USA starts moving in, and the teams just follow after that. And everybody will be in their spots. We'll manage some difficult conversations with teams, right? Because they'll want something, but they can't have it because it's an equal playing field. You can't.
Ooh, do tell.
It's all equal, right? So it's a tournament about, although your ranking matters. So that is the beauty of it. So at the same time, at the end of the day, we'll get them in, we'll get them set up. And so they'll come back Christmas morning and we'll start practice. And once practice is happening and photos are happening and all that stuff, at the end of the day, they'll leave, they'll come back, and we'll do it again on the 26th and have games.
Yeah. There were a couple of things you said there that I do want to bring back to your time as an on-campus music rep. I would imagine that on campus, that was the company that you worked for, is according to my notes, a regional account manager?
I was. So for on-campus booking, what I did there was I had a roster of about 40 people of musicians, and it was all musicians. It was either singer-songwriters or bands or duos or some form of music. And my responsibility was to work with the entire East Coast region of the United States and book them on college campuses. So my territory was Maine to Florida to Mississippi, and my only inlet state was Tennessee. But if you can imagine, and if you know anything about the college market and the college industry, the East Coast is the best place in the world for colleges because the routing for bands is really good because you hit a college about every 15 miles.
Yep.
Right. Whereas you get to the Midwest and you get to Ohio, they're all great schools and they all have done, and I've gone on to work with all of them. But at the end of the day, routing wise was very easy.
Yeah.
So you had to manage some expectations as well as, get them onto campus and make sure that they perform and do their thing and then leave and that type of thing.
But you mentioned teams asking for things they can't have. I'm sure some musical acts asked you for some things they couldn't have and maybe had some hardline opinions if they got Diet Mountain Dew instead of Mountain Dew.
It's interesting you say that because a lot of them that I worked with were developing artists, right? They were starting out and some of them had art, some of them had managers who would send me a rider, and it'd be one person and it would be a plate full of like charcuterie board of food for one person. And the list of the food I would get would be like, are we serious? Like, it's one person. It's a singer-songwriter.
Why do they need camembert cheese?
Right. Why do you need a platter of meat? Like, I don't. And it was funny because the artist called me back and he said, I'm getting all this food and, I don't know what to do with it. I feel really bad because I don't eat it all. And I can't eat it all. And I said, well, you need to talk to your manager because that's who gave me the rider. If you want me to cross it all out and not tell every school they don't have to do it, that's fine. And they'll appreciate that. And he's like, yeah, just cross it out. I don't need platters. But I've had artists who have shown up, who have called me from the airport and said, I didn't realize. Now, mind you, this is 20 some years ago. And so GPS on your phones was not even a thing at that point. So imagine that, kids out there, imagine that.
Yeah. No tiny computers in your pockets. We're using maps here.
Yes. Or Garmin's like dashboard device that would sit on your car.
Oh
and
my
maybe,
gosh.
right?
The little triangle.
Yes,
Go like
that
this.
would move you around. Exactly. So I had an artist call me. He landed in Philly, and his show was supposed to be 2 hours south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So if you know anything about Philly to Pittsburgh, it's about a 4.5 hour drive. So he was 4.5 hours, maybe 5 from his destination, and he had an hour to get there. And so we had a conversation. We canceled the show. Long story short, his manager calls me and says, he's not paying your commission. And I said, well, wait a minute. I did my job. You didn't fulfill yours. The artist didn't fulfill yours. So the responsibility is on the artist to get to the show. I can't magically make you get there.
Right.
And there's got to be some onus on the person to actually, look ahead and not just assume that my show's 30 minutes from Philly. Right.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is a big state. It's not just Philadelphia, just like New York City. New York is a big state. It's just not New York City or Manhattan Island. Right. So thinking about that, and eventually they realized, yes, we're in the wrong. And I've never really had any major issues with those artists. They were all very eager to go out and start because they were starting out.
Right.
But I can tell you that they have, a lot of them that I've worked with over the years have continued on and are still supporting themselves and have a full life of doing what they're doing and love doing what they're doing and playing music. So,
yeah. And I'm sure that job prepared you more than prepared you for this current one where I don't want to infantilize it, but there's a lot of hand holding that goes on with some of this.
Absolutely.
When you think you should probably know that Philly to Pittsburgh is more than a half hour. There's a lot of hand holding that goes on with
100%.
Teams and with players and even with employees in this role.
Yep, absolutely. And with our crew here, we're all willing to help and want everybody to have a great experience, right? However, sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves and we are, I gave so-and-so this. Well, okay, we'll deal with that, but that's going to have some repercussions, but that person may not see what those repercussions are. I'm going to have to deal with those repercussions.
Yep.
So planning that ahead and saying, hey, let's just keep in mind that before you just offer up some stuff and offer up equipment and offer up these things, make sure you run it through me so we can have the understanding of like, okay, yep, we can do that or we can't do that. Just because everything is supposed to be equal across the board as far as like what they get and all of that.
Everybody gets 3 rolls of white tape. Everybody gets 3 rolls of black
tape.
Sweden might want 5 grip tapes.
Yep.
Finland might want 2, but everybody's going to get 3.
I'm only supplying you so much. I've only been told to give you so many bench towels. I've only told you so many water bottles.
I can show you where pure hockey is in relation to the rink, but I'm not going to give you a box of tape.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
I want to ask you about efficiency. I think in some companies where you said everything has to go through you, things can get lost. If everybody has to check with you, it can slow things down. It can come up the works. Do you have any tips or tricks for companies that are trying to streamline communication from the bottom to the top?
Wow. Good question.
I'm basically Lee Iacocca.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Let's write a book, Brandon.
I think the biggest thing is making sure the stakeholders that are involved in the project are all at the table at the beginning. Okay. And they figure out what the game plan is from the beginning, right? Like if I'm the guy that's supposed to get all the information out, at some point it needs to come back to me so I can understand so I can at least make sure that we're thinking about, for instance, TV trucks are coming in. I need to make sure that we have electricians on site so we can hook the power up to the TV trucks. What time are the TV trucks coming? They're coming tonight at like 2:30 in the morning, right? But they don't need power until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So great. I don't have to bring an electrician at 2:30 in the morning at X amount of dollars. Right. And then I can bring them in at 8 o'clock and we'll get them set up and everything will start moving and that type of thing. And laying out what the expectation is for some of those departments that are vital to the success of the event, but aren't necessarily sitting in those same meetings that I'm sitting in. I'm that person that's holding like electricians, engineers, operations to a certain extent as well, where you're saying we need people on site during this time to this time and giving a schedule of like, what's the expectation? So if something goes down at 6:30 after a game, I have an electrician on until 8 o'clock that night. I at least have an hour and a half of time so I can still fix it, or we can figure out what we need to do so we're ready for the morning, right? And it's hard sometimes because a lot of people may be having side conversations with, a different entity, one of the three entities, right? And people will come to me and ask me the question of like, well, are you aware of this? And you're like, no, but tell me more.
No, but I should have been.
I should like, and it's not to anybody's fault. They're just doing what they've always done from a wild perspective, or from a college experience, from a college game perspective, or whatever. Right? That's their job, and my role is not to know their job. My role is to know that it's being taken care of in a certain sense, and to be able to provide the end result for the fans. Right. So.
That's why you're here. That's to manage the event for the fans.
Yes. Well, to manage the event from all aspects, right? Like you want to make sure the fans, it's goes as far as putting up concourse exhibits or tabling tops, right? Like you got the Hobie Baker Hall of Fame coming in, doing a setup as well, but you got to give them a footprint that isn't going to impede a fan's access to their seats. Right. And you got to make sure that CCM has their spots, and you got to make sure that USA Hockey has their spot, and you have to make sure, and they all need stuff, but at the same time, we all have to keep in mind like the egress and the ingress of everything else with the fans, and to Rachel's point earlier, to make sure people are safe. Yep. As long as everybody stays safe, that nobody's going to know what other chaos is happening underneath them in the lower part of the building or in the other side of the building. Right. So it's a matter of just it's that old adage of just letting it being like a duck, right? Your legs are moving like 90 miles an hour under the water, but everything is just easy going up on top. Right. So you're flowing that way on a daily basis. And these types of events that are, as long as this one are very draining on staff. So keeping morale up, encouraging. If I come in, if I come in and Sam could probably attest to this, but I can come in and be a little grumpy because I'm on day 6, right, of 5:30 in the morning or whatever the time is. Yep. But we've all chosen to be here, and that's the beauty of it, right? We all, which is why we love what we do. Because we've all chosen to be at this spot and to be here and to be a part of this. There's not a lot of people who get to say, I got to work on the International Ice Hockey Federation World Juniors Championship. Yeah. And that to me is the excitement about it.
You're the most popular person at the Christmas party, Brandon.
I'm not. And actually, I'm not going.
That's because you're not at the Christmas party?
I'm not going to the Christmas party. I made my appearance and I turned around and I left, right? Like that's not, we're good. Like the beauty is that at the end of the day, everybody has fun, including all the people who are working. And there's going to be a lot of heads that are just like, but yep. And then, just making sure that we do things for our internal fans as well, right? Making sure we're taking care of our staff. And I simply am just one person that gets to work with a variety of people, and all the people that I get to work with make the day that much better. And, managing those personalities is part of the job as well, right? You may have a really grumpy person who's like, man, why am I doing this? Well, why am I doing this? Right? Like because we all chose to be here. So and I need your help. How can I help you make sure that we can get X done? Yeah. Right. So
considering that you're a duck, this is the $1 million question. Are you actually going to watch any of the hockey games, or once the puck drops, you're finding a dark corner somewhere in the bowels of the arena and sleeping next to a Zamboni?
No, that's an interesting question and a good one. I will maybe it's hard because it's hard because it's like the moment you sit down is the moment the radio goes off, or the moment the text message comes through, or the moment X happens. We have a really great system built in so that I'm not on site from start to finish. Yep. We have a great event management team that is supporting it as well from all sides, and I eventually do get to go home or stay a little bit longer and watch a game or watch part of a game. If I'm doing the early mornings and staying for the 5 o'clock game isn't necessarily in my best interest, let's say, right?
For your personal health.
But yeah, exactly.
And your mental health.
And all of that. And just like, it is, yes, I will try to take in some of it, but it won't be a full game.
All right, let's end on a fun one. Has this experience, starting from the time the Grand Casino Arena was awarded the tournament to today, the day before Christmas Eve, has it made you love your job more or hate your job?
Oh, love it for sure. Like, I'm excited because of the capacity and the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been here. This is my 13th season with Grand Casino Arena and River Center and Roy Wilkins, and I still can remember that interview question of what do you love most about event management or events? And it was the bigger, the better. Like the bigger the event, the better the event for me, just because there's so many aspects to an event that go into that and so many details. And, you know, I can do a 25 person meeting. That doesn't feel that fire in my belly. Right. And getting to see somebody come in and watch an event that's 18,000 people, that's 10,000 people, you know, I've done everything from those 25 person events to NCAA, you know, IHF World Championship, to state wrestling, to a very intense meeting about the pipeline system in Duluth, to all the things that have these little integral parts. And I think what I love about it the most in that facet is the fact that I get to work with all these different departments within our organization.
Wow. Boy, you summed it up perfectly. Brandon Tucker, Senior Event Manager for the World Junior Championships. I know you have a busy day ahead of you, probably a busy day tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. But thanks for giving us a few minutes this morning. We are so looking forward to this event.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. Cause it get cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota.